President Trump upping the pressure on Venezuela to play ball. He's ending the Biden-era compromise with the nation that allowed Chevron to pump oil there. It was viewed as a financial lifeline. Posting on Truth Social, we are hereby reversing the concessions that crooked Joe Biden gave to Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela on the oil transaction agreement.
Trump added it's because of the, quote, electoral conditions within Venezuela, which have not been met by the Maduro regime. Additionally, the regime has not been transporting the violent criminals that they sent into our country back to Venezuela at the rapid pace that they had agreed to. Joining us now to react, Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, great to see you. This only hurts the Maduro regime in Venezuela, does it not? It has no impact, yay or nay, on our oil supply and on a Chevron.
Look, we don't need Venezuela's oil, and we certainly don't need their criminals. American entrepreneurs are out there responding to the needs because President Trump is loosening up the regulations. So oil and gas folks are out there increasing production. We've seen a steady increase going from 12 to now over 13 billions of barrels of oil per day. So we'll be just fine without them, and we certainly need to give them all back, all their criminals that they send here.
Well, it's example of when you increase your negotiating leverage, you can do things that make sense, like cut off sweetheart deals for Venezuela. Senator, I don't expect this to be the last country around the globe who's wronged us that ends up on the other end of one of these Truth Social posts.
Right. America first. I think once again, President Trump, promises made, promises kept. His main priority, secure the border, make Americans safe. Part of making us safe is sending all these criminals back to these countries that sent them here.
Moving on to this, a huge development on the world stage. Fox News can confirm that a rare earth minerals deal with Ukraine has been reached, just as President Trump announces Zelensky's upcoming visit to the White House.
We're doing very well with Russia, Ukraine. President Zelensky is going to be coming on Friday. That's now confirmed, and we're going to be signing an agreement, which will be a very big agreement, and that'll be on rare earth and other things.
Is it a good deal, Senator, first, but does it lead to the next step of a ceasefire?
Well, certainly ending this war has to be a good thing. And let me just talk about why this is so important to America's national security. Right now, Russia and China have a chokehold on these rare earth minerals. So giving us access to them is good for our safety, for our security. Whether you're making pharmaceutical drugs or chips, we need access to these rare earth minerals. So it's good for America's national security. You know who else it's good for? It's good for America's farmers as well. This will lower the price of fertilizer. So many of those fertilizers come through this through the sea there as well. So it's important to all those. I think it'll be a good deal. I think it's a step towards ending the war. And isn't it just amazing a difference of a couple of months make who's in control of the White House?
Senator, I love that the president looks for opportunities where you can create economic benefit actually for both parties, because Ukraine needs help in developing these resources. There is no question about that. But on the other hand, I just want to ask you about this. The deeper we get involved with these resources there, of course, the more likelihood that U.S. personnel are on the ground, and that creates a question of ongoing security guarantees. How do you expect that to be handled?
Well, I certainly agree with you, this economic win-win situation that we basically, Joe Biden gave Ukraine $175 billion, and now President Trump is trying to recruit part of that. I think what we need to see is Europe stepping up right now, and that's what President Trump is going to demand. So we want Europe up there controlling this front line, not necessarily Americans. But your point's well taken, and I think President Trump, through his position of strength, that Russia's not going to mess with us. They know, you mess with the bull, you get the horn.
Senator, you have also introduced a bill to ban federal grants for gain-of-function research. I think people at home are thinking, I know that you co-sponsored this with Senator Marsha Blackburn, what took this so long?
Yeah, well, we've introduced it before in the last Congress. Now we're doing it again. If you think about the COVID virus, it was built with Dr. Fauci's money, teaching China how to develop this horrible virus that's killed 10 to 20 million people across the world. He kept changing the definitions of what is and isn't viral gain of function research, but this will put an end to all of it. I expect President Trump to come behind it, perhaps with an executive order, as we're waiting for Congress to codify that as well. I'm disappointed it took this long as well, and of course my friends across the aisle and Joe Biden would do anything to protect Anthony Fauci.
Senator, is part of this, part of its gain of function research, part of it was that it was being done in China, right? So this is really sensitive, obviously could be very dangerous stuff happening in a country which is clearly not an ally of ours. Is part of this moving, maybe it's not gain of function research, but something more like this to U.S. territory? Like, do we do things here that help us stay ahead of what our adversaries may try to do on this front?
Well, certainly I've asked the White House to stop any type of research being done in China that we're helping fund as well. But I'm concerned about doing this particular research in America as well. There's never been any good from this research. We've been spending money on it for over 20 years. We've seen nothing positive come out of it. In our own laboratories, we see viruses leak. In England, smallpox was accidentally released in 2019. Here in America, anthrax was released and other viruses. These viruses are hard to contain. I don't see that there's any benefit, a huge amount of risk. So I think we should just leave them alone again. We lost hundreds of thousands of people in this world to nuclear weapons, but we've lost millions, tens of millions of people from this gain of function research. I don't think the benefits outweigh the risk.
Senator Roger Marshall, thank you for being here always, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you.